So you're on vacation and you want to ride the amazing new Star Wars ride, Rise of the Resistance, but you aren't sure how to do it. You've come to the right place. Let's face facts, Disney World is letting in more guests than ever these days, so it's getting more and more difficult to book these boarding passes for Rise of the Resistance. It's more important than ever that you maximize your chances of getting one, and I'm going to tell you how. You will also hear me use the term boarding pass and boarding group interchangeably. They basically mean the same thing, so no worries about that. So if you're a Star Wars fan like me, or just anyone who wants to experience the most innovative and immersive theme park attraction in the world, you're definitely going to want to score one of these boarding passes. Getting a boarding pass or boarding group is the only way that you can experience Rise of the Resistance. Now, this system is being used at both Disneyland and Disney World. We've recently returned from a 2-week trip to Disney World in the summer of 2021, and we have seen crowd levels at Disney World increase significantly there. And so we found it to be much, much more competitive to get that Rise of the Resistance boarding pass. So you really need to be mindful if you're looking at directions on getting the boarding pass from someone who's booking at Disneyland, which is still running under limited capacity at the time I'm recording this, or an older video from Disney World where they were running at more limited capacity, you're going to find that if you are traveling to Disney World, especially right now, it's going to be very competitive for you to get that boarding pass, and time is of the essence. So let's get down to the steps that you need to take to make this happen. So here is the timeline that you're going to be working with. Before you go on vacation, ideally, you're going to want to download the Disney app. If you have it already, go ahead and check for updates and make sure that you have the most updated version of the app. Be sure to link any other accounts of people in your travel party to you. If they have their own account, they can actually try to book a boarding group, including you, at the same time, and that's great. That's another really helpful strategy, is to have multiple people trying to book. So you must also have a valid ticket for all the members of your party and a park reservation for the day. Don't worry if you have other friends and family on your friends and family list who are not going to the park. That's fine. The system already knows who has park reservations for the day, so don't worry about anybody else who isn't with you on the trip. Both Disney World and Disneyland offer boarding groups at 7 a.m. in their respective time zones. Disney World offers a second boarding group opportunity, a booking window, again at 1 p.m., and Disneyland has another booking window at noon. Here's what you need to do to maximize your chances of getting into that boarding group at 7 a.m. Okay, you have to know that speed matters a lot. This is going to be a race, and the fastest ones are going to win and get that boarding group. There will be fewer boarding group spots available than the number of people who are trying to book one. So it's going to be very competitive, and speed is going to matter. So step one is to get the fastest connection that you can. This is going to vary depending on where you are. For our purposes, we'll assume that you're staying in a hotel. You're going to find a spot with the best possible signal that you can. For some people, this is going to be using the Wi-Fi that's available wherever you are, and for others, it's going to be using your wireless network provider. I recommend that you download and run an app like Speed Test by Ookla to check which is faster. So I would recommend doing this at about 6:45 a.m. You also may want to turn off your Bluetooth and close other apps running on your device, so you can prevent the app from potentially crashing or lagging. You want to, again, take away the chances of anything like that fouling up your booking. So the way that you would test is to open up an app, run the speed, and take note of whether you had your Wi-Fi on or off. So if the Wi-Fi was on, go ahead and run the test. Look at your download and upload speed. And then you're going to turn your Wi-Fi off and run another test and compare those to see which one is actually faster. You may also find that you have to move to a different location. On our recent trip, when we were booking on our first Hollywood Studios day, we were staying at Bay Lake Tower, and the signal was absolutely terrible. So my husband went ahead and walked way, way far away from the building so he could get a better signal and it wouldn't be blocked. Step 2 is to set up a device with a clock that shows the seconds so that you can be as precise as possible, because time is critical. I cannot stress this enough. The boarding groups when we were at Disney World recently were filling up in literally 1 to 2 seconds. So fast, you barely have time to even react. So you got to be fast, and it really is a matter of your connection speed and your reaction speed as well. I use my iPad to watch the seconds tick until it is almost time. In my opinion, it's not good enough to just look at the time on your phone or device and then just go off of that, because if you don't react quickly enough, you are not going to get into that boarding group. At least at Disney World, there are enough people going into the parks that you are maybe not going to get that boarding group. You really, really have to be fast. So you want to actually see the seconds ticking so that you can see 56, 57, 58, and so on. Be ready. Be on your toes. Okay, so those speed tests I like to run maybe about 6:45 a.m. At about 6:55 a.m., I go ahead and open the Disney app, make sure you are logged in, and you're going to scroll down to the page and hit the join button. Pull down on the screen and watch it refresh with the little spinning wheel. Take note of approximately how long it takes to refresh on your device. That is how far before 7 o'clock you will need to refresh. I'm going to say that again. That loading time on your device is how far before 7 o'clock you will need to refresh this screen. Now, it's not an exact thing. It's just an estimate, but it will improve your chances of getting that boarding pass. Let's say that my screen took about 1 second to refresh. So I'll plan on refreshing at 6:59 and 59 seconds so that it actually loads the screen at 7 o'clock. If I waited until 7 o'clock, I might miss out because it might not load till 7 and 1 second or 2 seconds, and already tons of people are going to be ahead of me in line for that boarding group. Okay, our next step is at 6:59 and 59 seconds, or whatever time you determined it was going to take to load. You're going to count it back from 7 o'clock, pull down on the screen and refresh. I prefer to go from the second screen because a lot of people like to go from that first screen that says join. I like to already move through that screen and simply be refreshing on the second screen. Do not wait for your phone to display 7 o'clock unless you have crazy lightning fast internet. If you do and it's a busy day, you'll likely miss out because that's what everybody else is doing. They are waiting for the clock to strike 7. We are starting the process just before the clock strikes 7, and that's the key here. And the other thing is, this is going to enable you to compensate for a slower internet connection. If you have a slower connection and there's nothing you can do about it, because let's face it, you're probably on vacation, staying away from home at a resort, and if it's slow, this is how you're going to be able to walk it back before 7 o'clock and compensate for that slower connection, and hopefully you're going to get your timing just right. So once it's officially 7 o'clock in the system, and hopefully you're already refreshing that screen, you will come to another screen with a button that says join, a blue join button. Immediately hit the button. Do not hesitate. Do not hesitate. Go straight through. Then you'll come to the screen where you add your party. Plow straight through this screen. Do not read anything at all on these pages. Do not mess with your party. Don't add anybody. Don't take anybody away. Don't read a single word on the screen. Just look for that blue join button and hit it. It doesn't matter if somebody's missing. That can be corrected later. Don't look at the names. Don't read a word. Just scroll down and hit the join button as fast as humanly possible. Hey folks, this is where I have to give you a really important note. If somebody else is trying to book for your party at the same time, for example, if my husband and I are trying to book our boarding groups at the same time on 2 different devices, and they get the boarding pass ahead of you, you're going to get a message that looks like this, and it indicates something went wrong. It's okay. It just means that they got the boarding group first, and you're actually good to go. So have them check and verify. You can back out of this screen and click check status, and it may be that you just have a boarding group already. So that something went wrong screen is actually a good thing because it means somebody probably pulled you into their boarding group already. So yay, congratulations. Don't freak out if that happens. Now, I highly recommend taking a screenshot at this point. If you have secured a boarding group or somebody has gotten one for you or anyone in your party has one, always screenshot. That way, if anything goes wrong, you will always be able to prove to a guest experience cast member or to anybody in the parks that you actually did get the boarding pass, and they can help you if you have problems with that. Now, you may be wondering, what if not everyone in my party gets in, or we accidentally get somebody else in our group that we aren't supposed to? It's okay. Don't worry about it at all. All of this can be sorted out in the park by a cast member at a kiosk under a blue guest experience umbrella. At Hollywood Studios, I highly recommend the location on Sunset Boulevard near the Beauty and the Beast show because they are always less busy than the team nearer to the Rise of the Resistance. Those guest experience team members can modify things, but they cannot give you a boarding pass if nobody has one. So speed really is key here on booking. We had a recent snafu where friends of ours were simultaneously booking their boarding passes at the same time that we were. And when the booking window opened up, I was pulled into one of their boarding groups. And then it prevented me from being able to create a boarding group for my family. But because I had a boarding pass, I was pulled into somebody else's group. Then the guest experience people were able to correct it for me and my family. So when the boarding pass is there, they can work with you on it and correct things. But if it's not there, you are out of luck, unfortunately. And just a little side note, when you are interacting with those cast members who are helping you with your boarding group, if you have any kind of issues, they really appreciate it if you are friendly and patient and polite to them. They see a lot of angry people who don't understand just how competitive this is. So if you are going to go ask for them to help you, I highly encourage you to be friendly, courteous, polite, and grateful. They will very much appreciate it. And they're going to be a whole lot more likely to help you out. Okay, so after all of that, if you did get a boarding pass, congratulations. You can now click check status to show your estimated time until your group is called. If you didn't get a boarding pass, don't despair. You have yet another shot at 1 p.m. at Disney's Hollywood Studios and at noon at Disneyland. We have had success with these distribution times, so don't give up if you miss the morning time. Be aware that you need to be in the theme park to book this afternoon boarding window. That is not one that you can do remotely like the morning one. So some other quick tips to help make sure that you get to ride this ride. If you simply must ride Rise of the Resistance or your trip will be ruined, I highly recommend booking multiple days at Disney's Hollywood Studios at Disney World or Disneyland Park if you're in California to maximize your chances. Remember that there are no guarantees with this because there are so many variables involved. Crowd levels, connection speed, devices, reaction time, all of those things are going to vary. And what was easy one day with a lower crowd level might be very difficult on a different day with a heavier crowd level. So you have to know that just what you experienced one time, it's not going to necessarily be the same next time. Look, anyone who tells you they've got a guaranteed way of getting a boarding pass is not being realistic. But if you use these strategies, you will maximize your chances of getting on this amazing attraction. And we can tell you it is absolutely worth it. Tell us in the comments if you've used any different strategies for booking. And what kind of success have you had booking a Rise of the Resistance boarding group? Happy booking, everybody, and, well, may the Force be with you.